Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we're here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 14, Text 31. Hanyatam hanyatam esha, papa prakriti dharuna, jivan jagad asav ashu, kurute basmasadruvam. All the great saintly sages immediately cried, "Kill him, kill him. He is the most dreadful sinful person. If he lives, he will certainly turn the whole world into ashes in no time." Purport. Saintly persons are generally very kind to all living entities, but they are not unhappy when a serpent or a scorpion is killed. It is not good for saintly persons to kill, but they are encouraged to kill demons who are exactly like serpents and scorpions. Therefore all saintly sages decided to kill King Vena, who is so dreadful and dangerous to all human society. We can appreciate the extent to which the saintly sages actually controlled the king. If the king or government becomes demoniac, it is the duty of a saintly person to upset the government and replace it with a deserving person who follow the orders and instructions of saintly persons. Text 32. Nayam arhatya sadvrito narhadeva varashanam yodhiyagyapatim vishnum vinindatyana patrapa. The saintly sages continued, "This impious, impudent man does not deserve to sit on a throne at all. He is so shameless that even he dared insult the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu." Purport. One should not at any time tolerate blasphemy and insults against Lord Vishnu or his devotees. A devotee is generally very humble and meek, and he is reluctant to pick a quarrel with anyone, nor does he envy anyone. However, a pure devotee immediately becomes fiery with anger when he sees that Lord Vishnu or his devotee is insulted. This is the duty of a devotee. Although a devotee maintains an attitude of meekness and gentleness, it is a great fault on his part if he remains silent when the Lord or his devotee is blasphemed. Text 33. Ko bhainam parichakshita venam ekam rate shubham prapta idrisham aishvaryam yad anugraha bhajana. But for King Vena, who is simply inauspicious, who would blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose mercy one is awarded all kinds of fortune and opulence? Purport. When human society, individually or collectively, becomes godless and blasphemes the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is certainly destined for ruination. Such a civilization invites all kinds of bad fortune due to not appreciating the mercy of the Lord. Text 34. Itam vyavasita hantum rishaya rudha manyava nijagnor hun kritar venam hatam achuta nindaya. The great sages, thus manifesting their covert anger, immediately decided to kill the king. King Vena was already as good as dead due to his blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, without using any weapons, the sages killed King Vena simply by high-sounding words. Text 35. Rishi Visvashrama Padam Gate Putra Kalevaram Sunhita Palayam Asa Vidyayogena Sochati. After all the sages returned to their respective hermitages, the mother of King Vena, Sunita, became very much aggrieved because of her son's death. She decided to preserve the dead body of her son by the application of certain ingredients and by the chanting of mantras, mantra yogena. Text 36. Ekada muna yastetu sarasvat salilha pluta putvagnin sat katas chakrur upavista sharitate. Once upon a time, the same saintly persons, after taking their bath in the river Sarasvati, began to perform their daily duties by offering oblations into the sacrificial fire. After this, sitting on the bank of the river, they began to talk about the transcendental person and his pastimes. Text 37. Vikshoti hitams tadhopatan ahorloka bhayankaran apyabhadaram anatya dasyubhyo na bhavedbhuva. In those days, there were various disturbances in the country that were creating a panic in society. Therefore, all the sages began to talk amongst themselves. Since the king is dead and there is no protector in the world, misfortune may befall the people in general on account of rogues and thieves. Purport. Whenever there is a disturbance in the state or panic situation, the property and lives of the citizens become unsafe. This is caused by the uprising of various thieves and rogues. At such a time, it is to be understood that their ruler or the government is dead. All of these misfortunes happened due to the death of King Vena. Thus, the saintly persons become very anxious for the safety of the people in general. The conclusion is that even though saintly persons have no business in political affairs, they are always compassionate upon the people in general. Thus, even though they are always aloof from society, out of their mercy and compassion, they consider the citizens, how the citizens can peacefully execute their rituals and follow the rules and regulations of Varnashram Dharma. That was the concern of these sages. In this age of Kali, everything is disturbed. Therefore, saintly persons should take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, as recommended in the Shastras. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam kalo nasteva 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 gatiranyata. For spiritual and material prosperity, everyone should devotedly chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Dandavat Pranam Ananda Krishna Prabhu.
Dandavat Krishna Krishna.
Text 38. Evam Rishanta Rishayo Dabhatam Sarvatodisham Amshu Samutito Buris Charanam Abhilumpatam. When the great sages were carrying on their discussion in this way, they saw a dust storm arising from all directions. This storm was caused by the running of thieves and rogues who were engaged in plundering the citizens. Thieves and rogues simply await some political upset in order to take the opportunity to plunder the people in general. To keep thieves and rogues inactive in their profession, a strong government is always required. Texts 39 through 40. Tad upadravam agyaya lokasya vasulupatam Bhartaryu parate tasmin anyonyam chajagam satam chora prayam janapadam inasatvam arajakam lokanna bharayan chakta apita dosha darshina. Upon seeing the dust storm, the saintly persons could understand that there were a great deal of irregularities due to the death of King Vena. Without government, the state was devoid of law and order, and consequently there was a great uprising of murderous thieves and rogues, who were plundering the riches of the people in general. Although the great sages could subdue the disturbance by their powers, just as they could kill the king, they considered it improper on their part to do so. Thus, they did not attempt to stop the disturbance. Purport. The saintly persons and great sages killed King Vena out of emergency. but they did not choose to take part in the government in order to subdue the uprising of thieves and rogues, which took place after the death of King Vena. It is not the duty of brahmanas and saintly persons to kill, although they may sometimes do so in case of an emergency. They could kill all the thieves and rogues by the prowess of their mantras, but they thought it the duty of the Kshatriya kings to do so. Thus they reluctantly did not take part in the killing business. Text 41. Brahmana samadrikshanto dinham samupekshaka shravate brahmatasyapi binha bandhat payoyata. The great sages began to think that although a brahmana is peaceful and impartial, because he is equal to everyone, it is still not his duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, a brahmana's spiritual power diminishes, just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. Purport. Brahmanas, the topmost section of human society, are mostly devotees. They are generally unaware of the happenings within the material world because they are always busy in their activities for spiritual advancement. Nonetheless, when there is a calamity in human society, they cannot remain impartial. If they do not do something to relieve the distressed condition of human society, it is said that due to such neglect, their spiritual knowledge diminishes. Almost all the sages go to the Himalayas for personal benefit, but Prahlad Maharaj said that he did not want liberation alone. He decided to wait until he was able to deliver all the fallen souls of the world. In their elevated condition, the Brahmanas are called Vaishnavas. There are two types of Brahmanas, namely Brahmana Pandita and Brahmana Vaishnava. A qualified Brahmana is naturally very learned, but when his learning is advanced in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes a Brahmana Vaishnava. Unless one becomes a Vaishnava, one's perfection of Brahminical culture is incomplete. The saintly persons considered very wisely that although King Vena was very sinful, he was born in a family descending from Dhruva Maharaj. Therefore, the semen in the family must be protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava. As such, the sages wanted to take some steps to relieve the situation. For want of a king, everything was being disturbed and turned topsy-turvy. Text 42. Nangasya vamso rajarsher esha samstatum arhati amogha viryahi nripa vamsesmin keshavashraya. The sages decided that the descendants of the family of the saintly King Anga should not be stopped. For in this family the semen was very powerful and the children were prone to become devotees of the Lord. Purport. The purity of hereditary succession is called Amogha Virya. The pious seminal succession in the twice-born families of the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas especially, as well as in the families of Vaishyas also, must be kept very pure by the Brahmanas by the observation of the purificatory processes beginning with the Garbhadana Samskar, which is observed before conceiving a child. Unless this purificatory process is strictly observed, especially by the Brahmanas, the family descendants become impure and gradually sinful activities become visible in the family. Maharaj Anga was very pure because of the purification of semen in the family of Maharaj Dhruva. However, this semen became contaminated in association with his wife Sunita, who happened to be the daughter of death personified. Because of this polluted semen, King Vena was produced. This was a catastrophe in the family of Dhruva Maharaj. All the saintly persons and sages considered this point, and they decided to take action in this matter, as described in the following verses. Text 43. Vinishchityaivam rishayo vipannasya mahipate mamantor urum tarasa tatrasid bahu konara. After making a decision, the saintly persons and sages churned the thighs of the dead body of King Vena, which with great force and according to a specific method. As a result of this churning, a dwarf-like person was born from King Vena's body. Purport: that a person was born by the churning of the thighs of King Vena proves that the spirit soul is individual and separate from the body. The great sages and saintly persons could beget another person from the body of the dead King Vena, but it was not possible for them to bring King Vena back to life. King Vena was gone, and certainly he had taken another body. The saintly persons and sages were only concerned with the body of Vena because it was a result of the seminal succession in the family of Maharaj Dhruva. Consequently, the ingredients by which another body could be produced were there in the body of King Vena. By a certain process, when the thighs of the dead body were churned, another body came out. Although dead, the body of King Vena was preserved by drugs and by mantras chanted by King Vena's mother. In this way, the ingredients for the production of another body were there. When the body of the person named Bahuka came out of the dead body of King Vena, it was really not very astonishing. It was simply a question of knowing how to do it. From the semen of one body, another body is produced, and the life symptoms are visible due to the souls taking shelter of this body. One should not think that it was impossible for another body to come out of the dead body of Maharaj Vena. This was performed by the skillful action of the sages. Text 44. Kaka Krishno Tirasvango Rasvabahur Mahahuna Prishvasa Panimna Nasagro Raktakshastamra Mordaja. This person born from King Vena's thighs was named Bahuka, and his complexion was as black as a crow's. All of the limbs of his body were very short, his arms and legs were short, and his jaws were large. His nose was flat, his eyes were reddish, and his hair copper-colored. Text 45. Tam tu te vanna tam dinam kim karomiti varinam nishide cha bruvam stata sa nishadastato bhavat. He was very submissive and meek, and immediately after his birth he bowed down and inquired, Sirs, what shall I do? The great sages replied, Please sit down, Nishida. Thus Nishida, the father of the Naishada race, was born. Purport. It is said in the Shastras that the head of the body represents the Brahmanas, the arms represent the Kshatriyas, and the abdomen represents the Vaishyas, and the legs, beginning with the thighs, represent the Sudras. The Sudras are sometimes called black or Krishna. The Brahmanas are called Shukla or white, and the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas are a mixture of black and white. However, those who are extraordinarily white are said to have skin produced out of white leprosy. It may be concluded that white or golden hue is the color of the higher caste, and the black is the complexion of the Sudras. Text 46. Tasya vamshastu naishada girhi kanhana gochara yena haraj jayamano vinha kalmasam ulbanam. After his, Nishada's birth, he immediately took charge of all the resultant actions of King Vena, Vena's sinful activities. As such, this Naishada class are always engaged in sinful activities like stealing, plundering, and hunting. Consequently, they are only allowed to live in the hills and forests. Purport. The Naishadas are not allowed to live in cities and towns because they are sinful by nature. As such, their bodies are very ugly and their occupations are also sinful. We should, however, know that even these sinful men, who are sometimes called Kiratas, can be delivered from their sinful condition to the topmost Vaishnava platform by the mercy of a pure devotee. Engagement in the transcendental, loving, devotional service of the Lord can make anyone, however sinful he may be, fit to return home, back to Godhead. One has only to become free from all contamination by the process of devotional service. In this way, everyone can become fit to return home back to Godhead. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna himself, by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.32. Mamhi partha vyapasritya yepishu papa yonaya shriho vaishyas tatha sudras tepiyanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter of me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Sudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th Canto, 14th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Story of King Vena. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from chapter 15, King Prithu's appearance and coronation, on Friday, on Wednesday. Are there any comments or questions? Any contributions from the assembled devotees? Jai
When is
Sripad.
this day? Radhastami, Prabhu.
Yes, Wednesday is Radhastami. Yes.
Okay.
And Tuesday is Lalita Saptami. Lalita is Radharani's best friend.
Tomorrow, Pralita Saptam.
Tomorrow, yes.
Meeting? No?
Oh, I'm not sure if Shanta Maharaj is having any Zoom meeting. Maybe you should contact him. You can ask him if you like.
And Madhava Puri Maharaj, no meeting?
But just on Saturday.
Okay. Saturday, sorry, no participate in festival in Temple ISKCON, Holy Festival.
Are you going to the festival at the temple on Saturday?
Okay.
Anyhow, we'll be there on Zoom if you want to come on Saturday. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
Our glories to the assembled devotees, our glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrsimhapuri Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radhakund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Jai Adivas Sri Lalita Saptami Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Jai Shripadananda Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai,
Jai Sripad Krishna Keshava Prabhu Ki Jai.
Have a nice day, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.